Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show. And I'm your host, Jim Masters. It's a pleasure to have you here today. Thanks for joining us from wherever you're watching all around the world, our international audience, our JMS Lovity Squad watching from all around the world. We have viewers that follow us from the United States and Canada, Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa, New Zealand, up, down, left, right, east, west, north, south. It's good to have you with us. This is Jim Masters. We've got an amazing guest. We actually have two guests on our show today as we're celebrating legendary Broadway actress Marianne Ashley. Yes, she's actually a dear friend as well. We've had some glorious times together with other mutual friends in the New York area. And we're going to talk about some of that, but we're also going to talk about a very special film that has been created really celebrating her extraordinary career and her wonderful life. So she's going to join us in just a second. First, I'd like to welcome our viewers, again, watching from all around the world. If you would like to comment, we invite you to comment on the actual YouTube channel. That's the channel you're watching right now, Jim Masters TV, where we house, believe it or not, over 740 episodes we have done in just 2 years. Now, remember, MASH was on CBS for 11 years, and they did 230 episodes. I was just talking to Loretta Swit, actually, a couple of days ago, and she said it was 230 episodes. She started, of course, in MASH, and we've done over 740 in 2 years. A lot of levity, a lot of talking, a lot of good times with all of you. From wherever you're watching, we thank you for making us a part of your day. Again, we invite you to comment on the YouTube channel. Let us know how much you enjoy this episode and all the episodes. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, so you can get all this great content. It also welcomes you to the JMS Lovity family, and there's no cost to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just helps us continue to grow and thrive as we have. We constantly get new subscribers and new viewers. And if you've subscribed recently, thank you very much. If you've been with us since day one, we thank you as well. So good stuff. I see comments coming in already, which is really fantastic. And keep the comments coming. If you would like to comment while the show is on in our exclusive JMS Lovity chat room, just subscribe to the YouTube channel because that is a gift for our subscribers. You can chat amongst yourselves and just have a good time in our lovely chat room as the show is airing. So cool stuff happening and some amazing stuff happening for our legendary guest. She is actually on location with another fantastic talent, award-winning actor, playwright, and producer, Patrick Riviere. They are both coming to us direct from Provincetown, Massachusetts. That's on the very tip of Cape Cod. For those of you who have never been there before, it's a beautiful, beautiful area. So we have two special guests on the show, Marianne Ashley, legendary Broadway actress, and Patrick Riviere, award-winning actor, playwright, and producer. And they have worked together on this really significant documentation of Mary Ellen's life. Actress, singer, dancer, producer who has been working professionally since 1943 when she performed in the star-studded war relief effort, the Rally of Hope at Madison Square Garden, and then made her Broadway debut later that year in An Innocent Voyage. Mary Ellen would then be cast in a role that was really created just for her in the original Broadway production of Annie, Get Your Gun, starring Ethel Merman. She remained with the show for the entire run and would play all of Annie's younger sisters. She was also working in radio and early television before she was part of the opening show at the Tropicana for headliners in Las Vegas. She had her own cabaret show, which was booked all over the country. And as a late teen, she began decades of work playing the leading ladies of musical theater in New York City and the most renowned regional theaters. Mama Rose and Gypsy, Mame and Mame, Dolly and Hello Dolly, 13 times, Mrs. Lovett and Sweeney Todd, The Witch and Into the Woods. Other shows include Pippin, Cabaret, Steel Magnolias, Fiddler on the Roof, Follies, Funny Girl, Big River, Flea in Her Ear, The Miser, George M., Echoes of the War, Little Me, 42nd Street, Family Dinner, and Billy Elliot, just to name a few of them, gang, really, I tell you. And she returned to Broadway, playing several roles in the premiere of Yentl, and feature films, including Best Man in the Dark, Tale of Two Pizzas, Where, The Briss, Clear Blue Tuesday, Diminished Chords, and as one of the little old ladies in The Producers, starring Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick. She has co-starred in two pilots, Bunny Hole and Americanos, and has been on Law & Order and Law & Order SVU. She has worked with some of the biggest names in show business and has also dabbled as a producer, including the Broadway productions of The High Rollers, Social and Pleasure Club, Marlene, an off-Broadway revival of Godspell as well. And several years ago, she was involved in the play Daddy Issues, and most recently co-starred in a two-hander at theater in New York City, in New City, that is My Dinner with Mary. Now, this documentary film we're talking about was made about her life and career. It's called Just a Broadway Baby, Mary Ellen Ashley, and has been garnering festival selections and awards, including Best Picture at the Oregon Documentary Film Festival, which it celebrated its world premiere, and Best Documentary Short at Art of Brooklyn Film Festival. It also has an official selection at Fort Lauderdale's Film Festival and a semifinalist at Flicker's Rhode Island International Film Festival. Both are heralded as two of the top festivals in the United States. Currently, Mary Ellen is working on a cabaret as a follow-up to the film, continues her career into her 8th decade. Talk about somebody who has really stuck with something that she's passionate about and that she truly loves. She is absolutely amazing. And there she is. Don't you just love that shot? We're going to have her on in just a second. And also, again, another illustrious guest joining us here, Patrick Riviere, and he worked together with, as far as producing and creating this fantastic documentary that we're going to talk about in just a second. He himself has an illustrious career. He's been in the entertainment industry for over 45 years, beginning as a young boy with a touring road show for the bicentennial in 1976. He's had the great honor of cajoling Robert De Niro to laugh between takes on Being Flynn, sung with the incomparable Patti LuPone and Don't Monkey with Broadway, and co-starred with the late Bruno Kirby in an episode of the network television series The Jury. He's had the pleasure of working with Michael Grief and many, many others, as well as Tony, Grammy, and Emmy Award-winning composer Charles Strauss, on both of the North American premieres of I and Albert and a production of Rags. He starred in the regional commercial for attorney Tom Sparks, which debuted during the Super Bowl in 2018, and the Providence, Rhode Island, and Western Massachusetts markets on NBC, for which he won a Gold Telly Award. His theater credits include over 100 strong, with highlights that include Kiss Me Kate, that's right, South Pacific, Anything Goes, You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and many others. He was also nominated for a 2013 Prior Award for Best Actor in the musical, The Fantastics, and nominated for an MITF 2008 Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Musical for Opa, and lots more. This is just the short list, gang. He's been doing this for a long time. He's passionate about it. He loves what he's doing. He debuted, this is his debut film, Just a Broadway Baby. And again, it was won all of these fantastic awards and all these accolades thus far. And it is my pleasure to welcome both wonderfully talented people coming to us from, again, wonderful Provincetown, Massachusetts, out on the Cape. Mary Ellen Ashley is with us and Patrick Riviere is with us. Welcome, gang.
Thank you. Hello. Welcome to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I usually don't get welcome to my own show. I love that. You're a class act, Mary Ellen.
Oh, gosh.
How have you been since we chatted last? There's been many occasions where we've had the opportunity to have a lot of laughs with our mutual friends and dine. There's one occasion right there with our friend June Rachelson Aspa and Mason and Carol and you and me right there in the heart of New York City. Always a good time when we all gather, right?
I remember I have this picture.
Yes.
And I look at it often. We had such a good time.
We sure did. Always.
There you are.
Lots of laughs, lots of laughs. So congratulations on this. This is really something very, very special. We're talking about just Broadway Baby. This is on your life. And how does it feel to have something like this created, celebrating your passion and your enthusiasm for life and for the arts?
I am still floating, let's say. It
Yeah.
started with a very innocent conversation, and Patrick remembers everything and then puts it down and created this. And I didn't even know that I was being, notated. And then suddenly he shows me a rudimentary version of what we have now. And my eyes opened wide, and they're still, it's, it's a phenomenal job that he did.
Yeah.
And I throw everything on him because the success that we have been having in the film festivals is, I think, entirely due to him. He says it's me. I say it's him. And so we challenge you all the time.
So it comes out equal. It comes out balanced and harmonious.
And
It's
there
him,
are
it's you, it's both.
there are two other technical people that he'll probably talk about them, because one of them is a friend of his from school, and Laird is his first name, and he's done an incredible job. And it's exciting. It's so exciting. I never expected this.
No.
I just enjoy the working of being in the business and being in the art aspect of it as well. And that was all I looked for, and constant work. I need to work.
Yes.
In whether it's theater, whether it's Broadway, off Broadway, film I love now, television, all of it. And that's it. Bye.
That's what you do. That's what that is 8 decades done in 2.5 minutes. She's a pro.
Right. And I'm only turning 35.
And you're only turning 35. Exactly. Patrick, welcome. You have your own illustrious career as well. We noted just, really scratched the surface about your incredible background. That's why I said it would be great to have you on, to talk a little bit about your work, but also this combining of forces to create this wonderful short film. What was it about Mary Ellen Ashley's experience, her personality, her legendary career that attracted you to want to approach her with the idea of creating this fantastic film celebrating her life?
Well, we first met on a production of an off-Broadway world premiere play. It was called Family Dinner, and we co-starred in it together. She played my mother and I played her son. And we decided that because all our scenes were together, that we wanted to work outside of rehearsal to get our characters stronger, to memorize our lines together. And so she had me over very graciously to her place in the city. I lived in New Jersey at the time. So I would go to her house and we would rehearse, but we would also start sharing stories about each other, getting to know each other as friends. And we became fast friends. And now I dare say family, like Family Dinner. She started telling me stories about her life and her career. And I kept wanting to hear more, because the way she tells a story is filled with such humor and such honesty. And you can't help but be drawn in and want to hear more. So as she told me these things, and then we worked on the show together, after the show ended, we continued to have a friendship and a relationship. And it suddenly dawned on me that she had a story that other people needed to hear. Even though, some might say, well, she's not an Ethel Merman, or who, of course, Mary Ellen worked with, or a Carol Channing, who Mary Ellen also worked with. She has been in this business her entire life and successful at it. She's made a career of it and a living from it. And so initially this film was going to be a much larger project, and it was going to have 3 generations of women. And I had 3 actresses lined up. Of course, Mary Ellen was one of them. But because of COVID and some other things that happened when the film would have been doing more of the filming and producing, what ended up happening was that Mary Ellen had come to visit the Cape quite a few years ago. And I decided to just do a series of questions with her, questions and answers, just because my cinematographer had new equipment, wanted to see how it was going to work, wanted to hear some of how Mary Ellen would tell these stories on the camera. And then all this stuff happened that sort of seemed to end the project. And it was during COVID that I went back and looked at all these interviews. And I said, well, there's at least a gift to Mary Ellen here. I think I can work with someone and we can present something to her. Basically, some of your viewers may remember This Is Your Life.
Oh, sure. Ralph Edwards. Yes.
Yes.
That's it.
And so
Stu Billett, Ralph Edwards production.
That's right. And so I thought, at least this will be a gift to her. Like, if This Is Your Life, and even if she's the only one that enjoys it, she deserves it. Well, my editor, as Mary Ellen mentioned, is Laird Ogden, and I call him my magic man. He did research, and he had worked in New York City. He had done some work in archival things. So he knew where to find things that I had been looking for years. He found a photograph of her father's pharmacy in Queens that was in the tax office in New York City. And he knew to go to the tax office to find it, and found articles that I'd been looking for forever in the Times about some shows that she had done that were bound for Broadway that didn't make it. I used to think she was making it up. These shows she was telling, because I couldn't, and he found them, these real shows that people haven't heard of. And so when he started weaving this together, by the time we got to what's called rough cut on a film, which isn't, there's still things to do, still editing, color correction, sound correction. I said, this isn't just This Is Your Life. I go to film festivals. I love particularly documentary films. I've been to film festivals all over the country. And I thought, I've seen things that, are worse than this. Like, this is just as good as things I've seen. So at the time we got to final cut, I knew that this was something that maybe we could get into a couple of festivals. What has happened is I could never have dreamed of or imagined. And she says that it's because of me, but it's not true. This film, I tell everyone, and it is the truth. It's Mary Ellen and Laird Ogden, the editor. It is this incredible life that she shares, and the way she shares it. She's such an incredible storyteller, and she takes us through this journey with her, and not just about her career, but about her family and the choices she made in her life. And it's so endearing and so enchanting and charming and funny. Her sense of humor and her wit is just spot on. And as she said, she's only 35 years old, but
only 35.
Still got that wit.
She has an old soul.
That's right. That's right. And Laird is the other person who made the magic, and that's why we have a film.
That is extraordinary. What was the process like? You mentioned some of it as far as doing the deep dive for research and putting it together. And, in projects that I've worked on in television, documentary work as well, one of the things that I know for me, and I'm sure for you, Patrick, as well, I self-impose this burden of wanting to really tell the story right, to tell the story in a way that just doesn't come off as facts and figures, but it has heart, warmth, that it has feeling, that people, even the camera angles, the underscoring music, the art of the storytelling and telling of the person's story, you're thinking about this person and you're treating it with such great tender, loving care that you self-impose this burden of wanting to really present something that doesn't just, again, highlight like a highlight reel one's life, but really draws people in to get them to feel it and left, with sweeping emotion. And that can be very exhausting and emotionally draining for the creator, because you have a lot of sleepless nights as you're putting it together, because you're thinking about the person who you are celebrating and documenting, and the, accumulation of all of these incredible things and happenings and experiences in their life. It's an amazing process, can be burdensome for yourself. If you do like I do, you put the burden on yourself, but a beautiful process, because when it's all finished and people watch it and they feel it, they feel the essence of Mary Ellen Ashley through it. There's nothing better, right?
That's it. That's it in a nutshell. And I was fortunate that a lot of that pressure was sort of transferred to my editor because I
Oh, the
didn't.
editor. Yeah. They take
Yeah.
a lot of Alka-Seltzer and Pepto-Bismol and Tums.
And some directors are their own editors.
Yes.
I'm not, and so I give all credit. I think that editors don't get enough credit if they're doing the bulk of that work, because even, let's say, in a feature film,
Yeah.
they may have 30 takes to look at of 2 seconds, and they have to decide which one's going to go best in, and they make that decision again,
Yeah.
unless they're the director too, or the director's over their shoulder. But a lot of
Yeah.
editors do that work, and it is, and then just color correction, like it sounds simple, but it's not.
Right.
And so, a lot of that burden was transferred, but the beauty of it is in the final product. What I said at a film festival recently was, this would have been just a series of interviews if it wasn't
Right.
for my editor. I mean,
Right.
he created this film. It's this beautiful film, and the way he pieced it together, and the way Mary Ellen, is able to convey her story, you can't help but be drawn in.
It's amazing. It really is. Mary Ellen, I really just scratched the surface of your illustrious career. I know you as a person as much as this incredible, iconic figure. And what I love about, like you said, Patrick, about Mary Ellen is, even with all these accolades and all of these years on stages and radio and television, and, sometimes being on the ground floor of things that are being tested and tried for the very first time, especially back in the days of radio and television, the early years too, and stage performances, that she's real. She's funny. She's approachable. She's affable. She's Mary Ellen. You know what I mean? As much as she is this grand person that people see doing grand work, she's a real person. And I think, would you say, Patrick, that made it easier for you because she is so warm, funny, approachable. She rolls with the punches. Something happens, something goes awry, she's there and let's get it done and make it work. That's a beautiful thing. And not everybody has that, but it makes the project and the process a little bit smoother, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. I mean, her spirit and her humor. I mean, that's one of the biggest things for me. When people can laugh, when people can find the joy in things. We all know that the world can be dark, and certainly recently a lot of challenges out there. But to be able to keep going forward and saying there's still positive things, that art and theater can still have a positive, reinforcement. It can create and make things better, even just for a moment in people's lives. And that's always what Mary Ellen strived to do in her career. And so that's why I think we became such fast friends, and really we become part of each other's family. And it's because of that, most definitely.
Yes. And Mary Ellen, what was the process like for you, where they are doing the research and they are filming and they're putting together these elements of your life? Tell us what the entire process was like for you.
Before I answer that, I take exception to the word iconic. I'm an old shoe. That's all I am. And I have 200 pairs. That's all I have to say on that. And when I married a shoe manufacturer. How about that one?
See?
And I didn't look for it either. Back to
You
your
were in
question,
America's version of Imelda Marcos, were you?
See? That's about all I know.
She had thousands of pairs of shoes from the Philippines.
I know. Yeah. I didn't,
if the shoe fits.
That. What was your question? No, well, I know.
What were the see what I mean? This is it. She's doing stand-up comedy for us right now, gang. See? She's got it.
Well, let me stand up then.
Right. Oh no, what we went through for that perfect lighting, you don't want to move an inch. No. This is what it's like when Mary Ellen and I are together. It's like I love it. What the process was like for you as they are there and they are capturing the story and telling the story, and here you are involved in this process. What was that like for you?
as I said before, I didn't know it was happening uh, until they had some cradle of a film. And when I discovered, oh my Lord, I'm going to be all over the place with all my secrets, because when you're having a conversation back and forth and you don't know there's something else coming, you just open up. And I guess I kind of opened up anyway. And I just continued. I was flattered. I was surprised. I was so appreciative, because it made me start thinking, what did I do with my life? And now here it is in front of me. I would just take what I had at a moment and live with it and love it, and then move on to the next when the next came in. Now I'm ingesting, digesting all my life in a new way. And I would say, and renews the friendship with Patrick, with everybody that I'm meeting through him, or have known before. And it becomes new and fresh. And it makes me feel like I'm going to live till 190,
You
because that
are.
gives you an energy.
It's that
an,
energy.
an
Yes.
energy and a faith, and stimulates the love you already have for
Yeah.
these people,
Right.
and life. And it softens the blow of the hard times that we've been in for the last, well, many years, but
Many
certainly the
years
last 4.
recently.
And
Yeah.
with COVID, it's been a hard, hard time. And it softens it, because I feel there's a way to express and restore people's faith in just living your life and enjoying it and making choices and loving what you do. I guess that's the most important thing. And he reflects that. Patrick's film reflects the love of what I've done all my life.
What
That's
is,
it.
oh, beautifully said. No, beautifully said. How did you first get inspired? What were some of the inspirations, as a little girl to want to go into the arts and go into entertainment and performance?
That's a really, really interesting question, because I had no part in that, basically. I was 4, and we were walking in the neighborhood, my mom and I, and she had a friend, Aunt Mabel McGraw, and she was a bachelor lady, and she lived with her relatives down the block from us. And she would go into my father's pharmacy. She was a client of his, and a wonderful, wonderful lady. And she invited us. She was running an organization that restored the children left over from the Second World War, that had the homeless, foodless, all of that. And it was uh, her job. And she invited us to a big festival live with stars on the stage. And it was at the then Hotel Astor in New York on 44th Street and Broadway. And we don't have that hotel anymore, but it was a big one. And I was invited to sit in the front row, because I was so little at that point. I'm very tall now, yeah, 5'2", but she brought me on the stage, and everybody went. I had, Shirley Temple blonde curls, and I was little, like all little children. They're cute. Everybody went, ooh, And she said to me, Mary Ellen, my name was just Ellen at that time. See, I'm revealing my deep, dark secrets.
Yes,
It was
Ellen.
just Ellen. And she said, can you sing God Bless America? No. Can you sing such and such? Can you recite such and such? A little, Grimm's fairy tale types of things. No. And she said, I'll sing one with you. And she sang, and I forget the song that she chose, but it was, Enhancing America, one of those songs. And
Yeah.
I came in on one line because she would feed it to me, and everybody went, ooh, there must have been 1,000 people in the house. And
Wow.
ooh, and that was it. And she escorted me downstairs to my front row seat, excuse me. And a woman came up to my mother and myself at the end of the entertainment and said, you must bring her to my studio. Yeah, Romanian or Bulgarian or whatever, Russian. And she had a French name, Madame Poignet. How do I remember that? I do. And she said, you must bring her. I'm going to teach her elocution, is what they called it then. And maybe still do. And my mother said no, she had no inclination what this was about. But Aunt Mabel entered into it and said, you must bring her. After months of this Madame Poignet calling, I must see your child. We'll put her on radio and TV. Well, ultimately, my mother acquiesced, brought me there, and I learned the first monologue, Mary Elizabeth Gets a Scolding. That's what it was. And I got on Nick Kenny's Children's Hour on Saturday mornings or Sunday, one of those days. And it was a half-hour show on WMCA.
WMCA, yes.
Yes. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, on the AM dial.
Yes. So I recited it verbatim by what Madame Poignet taught me. And I got a fan club going. This is over a period of a month or so. I was weekly there, and there was a new monologue each time. And finally, after a couple of months, the fan club started to complain a little in a way. She said, it said repeatedly, where is it the same Mary? By that time, my name was Mary Ellen. And because Nick Kenny, who was a journalist with the Daily News or the Daily Mirror, we had two then, and his brother Charlie Kenny was a reporter with one of the other one, Daily News or Daily Mirror. I don't remember how that was divided. And Charlie Kenny wrote lyrics, or was it Nick? Nick Kenny wrote lyrics. Charlie Kenny wrote the music. And that was an additional talent of theirs. In any case, they got right in saying, where it was Mary Ellen? This young girl has a Russian accent, Bulgarian accent. I started to mimic everything Madame Poignet taught me, including her accent. And they thought, this was false or whatever.
Right.
In any case, I was advised not to study with her anymore. And we didn't. And Nick Kenny gave me poems set to Charlie Kenny, his brother's music. And that's what I started to do for at least, I guess, a year, until I got on to the Horn and Hardart Children's Hour, which was an hour on NBC. And then I got on to Nyla Mack's Let's Pretend, which was an adaptation of Grimm's fairy tales on Saturday morning. And that's how my radio career started. Then I got used, and I had a facility, don't ask me how, with dialects and voices, children's voices, and it just happened from the doing. And I think when something starts at a very early age, as it did with me, you absorb it.
Yeah.
You absorb it all. And that was all reflected in what Patrick has devised and put together and written and all the wonderful things he does. And that's it. Bye. I've talked enough.
Put another dime in the payphone, Mary Ellen. You can talk more.
Ask me a question, I'll answer it.
Why do you love doing this so much? You've done it for so long. What is it about it? What does it give you inside when you are performing, when you are collaborating, when you are creating, Mary Ellen, as you've done so beautifully all these years? what happens to you inside? Are you transported to another place? Try to
To
express
another
that
planet.
to another planet.
No.
Venus.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's perfect. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Venus, yeah, the planet of love.
It's restorative.
Yes.
I think that kind of sums it up in a quick way.
Yeah.
You start thinking about the people that you're playing and how they've arrived at certain places, the characters.
Yeah.
And it's so much of it is based on your own arrival to certain places. So it's an amalgamation of people. And if you're interested in characters and people, even if you cartoon them a little, it's from the heart, and that's it stimulates you and it makes you create something else again. And to create is the reason you can live forever. Even if you don't, your work stays generation after generation, centuries sometimes. And I guess in a way it makes me think I can live forever, which I have to do because I love life.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you do. You absolutely do. If you
And I
look,
love people.
and you love people,
I do.
absolutely. You're terrific with people, and I've seen it in action, and can vouch for that. You really are, with all different backgrounds,
Oh,
and
yeah.
yeah, and I'm that way too. And I think that's
I know. Yeah.
it's a beautiful way to look at life. And what are some of your favorite moments that come to mind? We don't want to, give everything away because we want people to see the actual film, but a couple of things that really stand out for you as your personal favorite moments in your career, maybe whether it's particular productions, events, experiences you've had, but moments that are some of your personal favorites, Mary Ellen.
There's so many. What immediately comes to mind is my first time that I did Mrs. Lovett in the Sweeney Todd. Extraordinary piece. And Sondheim, whom I loved, and I'd done other of his shows prior, but to be able to do the Sweeney Todd in a wonderful theater in Utah, attached to the university there. We had the university's music department, the musicians. We had 26 of them in the pit, like a Broadway house. That stands out in my mind. Going back in time, when I got hired for Annie Get Your Gun, I wasn't the right type for the little farm children. And my mother dressed me up to look like it was my first musical comedy to be on Broadway. So she dressed me up for the audition to look like, I think I was 5, or was I 7, or what? I was little. And she got me all gussied up, like a showgirl, a midget version of one. Excuse me. And I stood up there, tried to transform myself when I saw the other children coming in, kind of ragamuffin, overalls and that kind of, hillbillies. And here I was, a New Yorker. And she was dressing me like I told you, a showgirl. And, a starched little dress over leggings, because it was wintertime and I had leggings and a coat. And I looked around, and Josh Logan was the director, and he was up on the dais there along with Dick Rogers, I think, was there briefly, Irving Berlin, and Herbert and Dorothy Fields, who wrote the book. And I got up with partially transformed a character. I'm just remembering it. Yeah. And my turn came to announce my name and what I had done. And I was received immediately because Josh Logan had seen, was it a film? It was a film I had done. No, it was my first show, The Innocent Voyage, about a year before. And he had seen it and he thought I was terrific in it. So he called me in for the next, there were 7 auditions ultimately. And the final one, when I went to the Booth Theater to sing, I chose, because I'd never sung before, I chose Don't Fence Me In, an old, popular Western type song. And I let go on it and pretended I was strumming a guitar and put one leg up over the other one, while I was standing cross legs. And
would you like to demonstrate that and reenact it now?
oh,
Or
that I was hoping you'd ask. That's exactly what I'd like to do. In any case, Berlin came running down the aisle at the Booth Theater, and that I remember. And he said, "We have to hire this girl. Who cares what she looks too fancy or whatever, not hillbilly enough." And I did get hired. Josh Logan and whoever wrote a part into the play part. Excuse me. And
gets you all choked up, doesn't it?
just I get
remembering.
excited, so I get dry. And after the opening, Josh Logan wrote in my book, because they wrote a part and I covered all the children, the little ones, and then I grew up into each role because I was in it for 3 years. And I got a note from Josh in my autograph book, because we all had autograph books, and it said, "Thanks for the 3 laughs."
Wow.
And I have that today. I mean, I have that autograph and the book.
That's incredible.
So that's a moment to remember. And there are so many, Jim. I mean, just so many. You would have to have a 3-hour show, because I appreciate and love and remember so many things that happened to me.
When you look at it, could you have ever imagined that things would play out in your life in the way that they have? Or has it all been a whirlwind of surprise for you along the way?
No, once I made, at age 13, Annie closed, or was it 12 or 13 anyway. And I didn't get something for a couple of years, and I thought I'd never work again. What I was too old for the children parts and too young for adult.
So right in the middle.
Roles.
Right in the middle.
And so I thought I'd never work again. And then suddenly I got a television show called the Tootsie Hippodrome. And I was Judy A on the Tootsie Roll, sweetheart. And I sang songs. It was sponsored by Tootsie Roll Candies.
Tootsie Rolls,
and we played out of the 44th Street Theater, which is now the Helen Hayes Theater. And it was live audience of children. And so I had that. And then I started to work with, I can't remember his name. That's terrible. But I started work with a pianist coach on an act and bit off that, because I was getting older, 16, and you want to continue. And I think getting that television show, the Tootsie Hippodrome, kind of whispered to me, keep going.
Yeah.
Because a couple of years without a Broadway show, after having 4 or 5 up till then, at such an early age, seemed very feasible.
Yeah.
And it could happen again.
Did your family, those who watched and supported your life along the way, did they get a chance to see what was coming to fruition for you. One of the greatest things is to go through all of the blood, sweat, and tears, and to have the rooting section of the originals with you, and for them to see things blossom and come to fruition. Did your folks and family get a chance to see some of these wonderful things happen for you over the years?
Absolutely, Jim.
That's
Through the years, I mean, it was a family of fans, but they were also very careful to observe whether I was getting spoiled, selfish, whatever. And I wasn't. I was perfect. No, they were, but my father had a pharmacy, and he was known as Doc in the neighborhood, and Sunnyside, Queens.
Sunnyside,
And he had a
yes,
radio
Irish
on.
neighborhood, yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord love you. One of
Yes.
the first things I got when I went to college, and I was 16 or 17 when I started, was a revival of Finian's Rainbow. I played Sharon McClunnock.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
which I loved.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I haven't said that in so long. Thank you
My
for
father grew up in
reminding me.
Astoria. Another
Oh,
Irish.
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So the people would come and flock. Oh, that's Mary Ellen. Or they'd hear me on Bright Horizon or Death Valley Days or When a Girl Marries, the soap operas. And they would be purchasing, and they would say, oh, yeah. And my father, who was a very laid back, almost reticent. He wasn't like me.
Vivacious.
Very. He was just a very brilliant man, and very circumspect, and he was terrific. And he would just stand there and say, "Yeah, she's at it again," kind of comment.
Yeah.
But nothing more than that.
How about your mother?
Oh, my mother. My mother was a piano player, a pianist, and had a little soprano voice. She never did anything, but she adored music and the arts and fashion and every aspect of creativity. And so once she used to ask me all the time, "Are you sure you want to do this?" When I was really small. "Yes, Mommy. Yes." I probably didn't say it like that. I'm making fun of myself. Excuse me. And I would say, "Yes, I do. I'm having a good time." And I did. I absolutely did.
That's incredible.
And continued because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you, when you look back at it all, there's been many blessings in your life, right? Many joys, many blessings. No day is perfect. There's ups, downs, trials, tribulations. There's good days, bad days. But to persevere in the way that you have, and to still love it, and to still be approachable and funny, and still, look at the craziness and idiosyncrasies of life and say, hey, that comes with it all. And to be able to gloriously continue to express yourself through the art, through performance, and now through this wonderful short film, it's got to be very peaceful for you. It's got to be very, very contenting for you when you look back at it all, knowing that you gave, and you still do, your best shot. You rolled with the punches, the ups, the downs, all the stuff that happens. And here you are, you're still doing your thing, beloved, iconic to some, old shoe to others. But just looking at it all, in the glory of it all, it must be a wonderful, contented feeling for you. You did good, kiddo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for saying. So have you. So I'll turn the question around to you. Don't you feel all these things you've described? Of course, there are times you think you're absolutely the best to audition for whatever it is, and you don't get it. So then everything says, I'll never do this again. I'm leaving. I'm going to
I'm out of here. Yeah.
sweep floors or whatever. and then that passes. You get another call, and they'll tell you, oh, God, you're marvelous, and you believe it, but you don't get that one either. So you go back to the other. So it's really, you feel jerked around a little bit.
Yeah.
But in life doesn't do that to you? And the ultimate is the satisfaction you do get.
Yeah.
And I have been very, very blessed.
Yeah.
I've done Hello, Dolly 11 times, 13 times. I don't even remember. Maine, Dolly. I mean, a roster of musicals that I don't even remember some of them. I said, oh, gosh, I did that at this and this theater. The TV and the radio, and having at 14 that show, the children's show. And then later on, I was a sidekick to Fred Robbins. I was about 16 then, on ABC Network, I think. Yes, it was. And Freddie Robbins was a DJ and other things, and he had a talent show. And I was the sidekick to him. I'd sing a song and then announce and bring on the talent.
Wow.
I had that.
Did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy the radio and television experiences?
I loved it. I love radio. I would love to be doing a radio show now, or what you're doing. I love it.
Yeah.
Radio is very special. The film that, like you're doing, is
especially when it's live too, right? You were live.
Yes, everything.
Yeah.
And it's very, very special because you have to think on your feet, don't you?
Yes. Yes. And I love that. Some people, they run in the other direction when they have to do that, but that actually draws me in. I love the anything can happen factor, because all cylinders are firing, and I treat it like a sport, and I'm right in there, right in the game. And when things do go wrong and everybody else is running away and panicking and everything's on fire, that's sometimes when I'm at actually my best, to always make it look easy, effortless, comfortable, like it was supposed to happen. I've had that many times where I've been thrown out on television studios, thrown out onto, the set, saying, Jim, the producer whispering in my ear, Jim, just go out there and say something, do something. There's all these fires happening. Or I've been on television and radio where things have gone wrong around me that the viewer or the listener doesn't see. And I have to stay put and just keep talking and coming up with something, because they couldn't go to any other program because they're tape jammed or something, or they couldn't. It happened to me actually a couple of times on PBS where I was on co-hosting, and they realized that they had played part 2 of a movie instead of part 1. So the credits were already running, and the master control operators were flipping out saying, oh my God, what is this? The credits are running. We played the second half of the movie first. So everything dipped to black. And I was on camera with my co-host at the time, and it was actually during one of their pledge periods too. So we were celebrating the actual PBS special, but then people were calling in and supporting PBS as well. And the producer and the director, they were going crazy because the person I was co-hosting with was actually the national programming manager. And they pulled my co-host right off the set because he was the program manager, and he had to help Master Control figure out what was going to happen. So they pulled him out of the studio, and now it's just me. And it was incredible because the director was talking in my IFB unit and saying, Jim, you got to just keep going. Jim, we have no idea how long this is going to be. They have nothing else to air. It's a mess upstairs, but you just have to keep going and talking live ad lib to the viewers. So underneath the camera's lens, you couldn't see it, but they were handing me every PBS thank you gift you could possibly have, every tote bag, every mug. And if you'd like the DVD set of this program, we have that too. So the producer she'd be ducking down And I would not turn my head to look down at her because then I would be looking away from the camera, but I would just put my hand out, and whatever she put in my hand, I would then bring up. And we also have this. And then it wouldn't be until I looked at it to see what it was.
What it was.
I would have to vamp about it. A lot of people, and that went on. It was like 45 minutes straight, no break, nothing. It was just constant. And people will say, how the heck did you do that? And I said, I absolutely loved every second of it. Matter of fact, when it was over, I was disappointed. I'm like, let's do it again.
Well,
because there's such a challenge.
and you have a very specific, many talents for doing that. Not everybody does. It can be nerve wracking.
It can be nerve
But
wracking. Yeah.
boy, that's a talent, and it's exciting.
Absolutely. And Patrick is a talent as well, a brilliant playwright and producer and actor. Tell us a little bit about some of your additional background that people might be familiar with, Patrick, as he sits in that fabulous chair. I mean, look at that chair. He's like the CEO.
It's a love seat, so just so everyone knows, it's not a chair, it's a love seat. But I like Mary Ellen. I started very young. And I was very fortunate to have a mom who didn't push, but supported. As a matter of fact, when I was very little, we had really deep windowsills in our house, and my mother would have friends over sometimes for parties, and I'd jump up and do a little song and dance. And one of her friends was an ad executive, and he's told my mother, you need to take him to New York City and he'll make you a lot of money in commercials. And my mother said, nope. When he's old enough to make that decision for himself, then he can decide to do that. But until then, I just want it to be fun for him if he wants to do it. But I did. I loved it. I was the only juvenile with a speaking role in the 1976 Bicentennial Roadshow. I was 10 years old. I had actually done something before that, but it was in school. It was the year of the tooth. And my teacher wanted to do this play about teeth and tooth health. And I played the villain, Sir Desmond Decay. And I loved it. I loved making people laugh.
That's perfect.
I loved having that sort of love because, it's really, particularly live theater, there's a symbiotic relationship with the audience. And it doesn't always happen, but normally you feel an energy come back to you.
Yes.
And it feeds you and it makes you
incredible.
feel alive.
Very communal experience. Yes.
Yeah. And so I loved it right away. And then I decided to go to college for theater, which I did. And I went to an incredible school, Niagara University. And it at that time was affiliated with Art Park, which at the time was a huge, successful regional theater. And so I got to work with Broadway people when I was, a teenager, people who had won awards, and I was working with them. I got to work with Jemsy DeLapp, Agnes DeMille's protege, on a production of Oklahoma at Art Park. I got to work with Morris Daniels from the Royal Shakespeare Company, who had directed Gielgud and Olivier. I mean, things that you don't necessarily get to do in a lifetime, or if you do, usually much later.
Yes.
And I always say that my acting career was sort of front-loaded. I got to do all these things very young, and then it's sort of. But my director in college said that if there's other things that you're interested in the world of the theater, flesh them out. See about that. So I was already doing some arts administration and directing and writing in college, and I loved it. And then for me, I wasn't somebody who ever made it to Broadway. Got close a couple times, but never got there. And so when I wasn't performing, I could do these other things. I was the first industry professional liaison at NYU's Tisch School of the Arts. I was there for 5 years, and I love my students. They energized me. Their success was my success. So I didn't need to be on stage when I was there because they were on stage for me. And I lived vicariously through them. And that was okay. But because the work that I was doing, I felt was important. And so I've been an arts administrator. I've been in arts education. I've, obviously performed and written some plays and directed. But I'm so grateful. COVID was so difficult on all of us. I mean, it was so difficult. And if it hadn't been for this footage that I thought, let me just look at this stuff that we taped, all these questions with Mary Ellen, and see what's here. That gave me that creative outlet, even at a time when we were sort of all shut in. And I also did some plays virtually because things started going online with Zoom. Theater started doing plays, and some of my plays were read in festivals online, which I was grateful for. So if there's anything good that came out of COVID, it was that creativity found a way, as it always does, to keep
Yes.
going, to keep feeding us, to keep moving forward, to keep us, with that hope that I think it can bring to us.
What are some of your favorite moments and experiences throughout your career that stand out for you, Patrick?
Oh gosh, like Mary Ellen. I mean, I've had so many of them. I remember working with Jemsy DeLapp on Oklahoma, and that was such a transformative experience for me. Also, Morris Daniels. I got a chance to play the fool in King Lear, and I learned so much from him about the levels of a character and the dimension of performance that's not just sort of, because I grew up very musical theater, almost vaudeville. So everything was louder, faster, funnier. And the older I've gotten, the more people I've worked with, I've learned about the subtleties of performance and being in the moment and listening. I always thought it was about, I've got to get my part nailed down and then just whatever I'm supposed to say it. But in the listening is often where there's there's so much learning that happens, particularly when you're on stage. Obviously getting to sing with Patti LuPone, it was a fluke thing that happened. I got a call from a friend that said, "Hey, you're in Provincetown, right? A friend of mine manages this talent and they're doing a concert at Town Hall, which is huge. It's the biggest venue in Provincetown. And huge celebrities are always performing there." But I said, "Well, who is it?" They said, "Oh, I don't know. But you can read music and, so would you do it?" I said, "Sure, I'll do it." So I didn't even know who I was going to be singing with. And then it was a small ensemble of men and I was the lead baritone. Then they said, "Oh, well, it's Patti LuPone." I said, "What?" And it was fantastic. It was remarkable. We did she did her concert and we learned about 5 songs that we came on in 4-part harmony and sang sort of backup for her for those like 5 songs. And then that was to be it. But when she came into our rehearsal, which was like an hour before the show, she heard us all singing and she told the musical director, "Do you think they can do it?" And we were like, "What is she talking about?" We had to learn the song Sleepy Man, which is from Robert Bridegroom, which she did the original production of, a cappella to sing as a encore. And so we recorded our parts, and as we went home to change to come back, and we did it for the encore a cappella with her. It was stunning. And at the end, I was off her left shoulder because I'm about as tall as she is. I'm very short. All the other gentlemen towered over me and her. And she turned and gave me a bear hug and picked me up off the stage and said, "We did it." And I was like, "You did it." So those, you have those moments that seem so many moments, but then you have those that really seem to jump out. And of course, working with Mary Ellen on the play and then on this film has certainly been a highlight for me.
Do you have a love for being the performer more than the behind the scenes, the playwright, the producer, documentarian, filmmaker, or do you prefer that more now than having to be on stage or being out there? Do they compete with each other? Is it equal for you, Patrick, or how's it for you?
That's a tough question, Jim. And I don't think they compete necessarily. I think they balance each other. They're all part of the theater. I was the director of development for a theater on Cape Cod for a while because I've also had that in my background, raising money. And I helped them. They were about to close their doors, and I was grateful that I was able to help them keep those doors open, and they're thriving. So I'm grateful for that. And I used to go, though, down the hall from my office to the theater, and I would sit in the dark with just the ghost light on because there weren't performances happening, and they always leave a light on in the theater, and it's called the ghost light. And I would just sit and go, "I am so lucky that I get to work every day at a theater." It's not on stage, but I'm involved with the theater. I'm helping to make theater. So regardless of the hat I wear, and I've worn a lot of them.
Even today.
That term multi-hyphenate is really, there's a lot of hyphens. But if I'm completely honest with you, if somebody said you get to choose one, I wouldn't want to take this film away. So that would be, but if I got to choose one now going forward, I love being on stage. I love performing. I love that. And I love rehearsal. I love performances, obviously, but in rehearsal, you have the opportunity to fail. You have the opportunity to experiment, jump off a cliff. and find what you're going to do. And so particularly if it's a family ensemble, piece that you're working on. And this is true for film and the little bit of film that I've done. Even in an administrative environment, when you're working with others, is when there's a family element to it, when people are all working towards the same goal. I love that. I love that process, the process of it all.
That's really cool. Speaking of the process of it all, you mentioned the process in putting this fantastic documentary together. And how long did it actually take from the germ of the idea to completion?
Yeah, there we are. That was actually on Cape Cod at our former cottage in North Truro. And gosh, it was about 5 years ago.
Was it really?
That we decided to Mary Ellen had come up for basically a vacation. And I said, we've got this new equipment. Let's just set it up and set up the lights and, set up the little set we're going to do in a couple locations. And just over the course of several days, I would ask Mary Ellen the same questions sort of over and over again to try to get deeper into the responses. And as Mary Ellen said, after a while, she forgot the camera was rolling. So it got, she got more detailed. Memory would come back more fuller. And then I'd ask different types of questions, or something she said would, motivate a different question.
Trigger. Yeah.
And so we had hours of footage from just those few days. I mean, we were at it for hours. But of course, if I had thought this was going to be a film, I would have done B-roll and, tried to do things with her in front of her Broadway theaters and just all of those things. But because then COVID came and we decided that we weren't going to do anything. And then I just looked and said, well, I have interview footage and that's it. But it was Mary Ellen sent me boxes in the mail during COVID, boxes of archival materials, clippings and playbills and photographs. And then Laird and I did a lot of additional research online. And of course, he found stuff. She mentioned a couple of shows that they were bound for Broadway, but they never made it. And I couldn't find anything. And he found New York Times articles on these shows that were in out-of-town tryouts, because that's what they used to do with all the Broadway shows. They're starting to do it again for some of them, but there was a period of time where it just basically things went right to Broadway. But in the early days, nothing went right to Broadway. They would do them in Chicago or Boston or even, other Pittsburgh, wherever, another city, and sort of try them out to see how they were gonna do, get a reaction. And sometimes they'd rework the whole show based on audience response out of town and then bring it to Broadway. The process,
like a focus group. Yeah, they're like a focus group a little bit, like they use in television and radio as the focus group. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was and probably an elongated process because the film is only 24 minutes. It's a short documentary. But with all of the hours, and then I didn't just give all of the footage to my editor. I did want to help him out a little bit. So I went through, and things that were blurry or the sound sounded garbled, or, there were certain stories that didn't seem to work for what I wanted to put together for her. But I sent him, well over an hour and a half of footage for him to cut to 24 minutes and then utilize his incredible talents and all the archival materials to make it a film.
It's difficult when you are taking, somebody's life like that and really celebrating it, and then you have to condense it into a shorter form. I know friends that, make music, and they'll have 30 songs that they want to put on the CD, but the producer and editor will say, no, you can't put 30 on there. You got to pick your favorite 12 or what have you, because that's all that's going to fit on it. Was it a difficult process in narrowing it down to the 24 minutes, knowing what to include, what not to include, and expand upon, and things of that nature?
Yeah, there were things. My editor and I had a fight over a couple of things that either he or I wanted, and we just felt that whichever one, ultimately we wanted to make sure it had an arc and that arc made sense. We also really believed that at this juncture in this time, and I say that in general terms, with everything that's happening, that we wanted to make a film that really focused on the beauty, the love, the joy, and the essence of this person, Mary Ellen, and what she brought to a career for so many years. And the thing that I've said that makes this film a little different than maybe some other documentaries like this is that the person who lived it is telling the story. Because so often we'll hear from children or people that didn't even, they find a trunk with all this stuff and they believe the story should be told, so they tell it with the trunk. But the person who lived it is no longer able to tell it. Or even just something recently, a feature film like about Ricky and Lucy. We all know the television show they did, I Love Lucy, but they didn't make their own documentary about their lives and telling us. It was actors portraying them. So it was really important for me to let Mary Ellen be telling the story, which is one of the reasons you never hear my voice in the documentary. You never see me. And there are documentarians that, of course, they were part of it. And I love those documentaries just as much, but that's not what I wanted to do with this. I wanted her to tell her own story in her own way. And the arc of the story was ended up being beautiful, because it starts from when she's, a little girl just starting out and goes through all of it, from the early television and radio to Vegas to Broadway to the regional theaters, and then to the stuff she's been doing recently. And then we end the film with just a beautiful song that was written by, Drew Fornarola, and she performed it at Lincoln Center. And it's such a beautiful way to end the film. Poignant, funny, heartwarming. I cry every time I hear the end of the film, because I just think it's just the arc of the film. It just ends the way it needs to end, but it also ends with almost that idea of ... There's more to come, and as Mary Ellen always says, onward.
Exactly right. Yes, absolutely. Speaking of that, we actually have a little trailer, sort of like the final cut a little bit here, about a minute or so of it, that we'd love to show our viewers. And we want to welcome everybody who's watching from around the world. The Jim Masters Show Live, Entertainment, Lifestyle, Variety Talk Show series, where we're bringing back the lost art of conversation. Our illustrious guests, the legendary Broadway actress, singer, dancer extraordinaire, Mary Ellen Ashley, as well as good friend and award-winning producer, playwright, actor extraordinaire, Patrick Riviere is here joining us. They are in beautiful Cape Cod, Provincetown, Massachusetts. Now we're going to take a look at this incredible clip we have here, and then we'll be back in just a moment. Enjoy, gang.
I was discovered on the street. A lady came running up. She is a beautiful child. I will make her a star. Well, within about a few weeks, she made me a star. No, she didn't. There was a big audition going on, and the show was called Annie, Get Your Gun. And Irving Berlin ran down. He says, we must use her, we must use her. And oh boy, you had to be tight and good every night, all opposite Ethel Merman. Then I got a big show in Las Vegas at the Tropicana Hotel. I did Brigadoon, Mame, Mama Rose was a big one, Hello Dolly, all over the city, all over the country. Broadway at the Eugene O'Neill. That's where I opened in Yentl. It was like a whirlwind.
That last part's perfect. Mary Ellen, when you see that, and you've seen the whole thing, how does it make you feel?
Hot flashes. Really, I have goosebumps.
It's incredible, isn't it? It's really, it's so beautifully done and well deserved. And oftentimes people celebrate one's life when they're not here. All of a sudden, there's all these specials and documentaries and everything celebrating, and people sometimes get lifetime achievement awards and honorary things when the person's not here. How beautiful that something like this in its very touching way has captured a good deal of your life and your expression of your life. it's an extraordinary thing, and I'm sure you were very cognizant of that, Patrick, right? That you know, like you said, I want Mary Ellen to be a part of this. I don't want her to be a distant memory. I want her to be a part of this, and she gets to revel in it as much as the consumer of it does. She gets to revel in the experience of this short film as well, right?
Yeah, and
It's a gift you actually are giving to
I'm so
Mary Ellen.
grateful that she was able to come, because now she's out in LA, and we have it submitted to some LA festivals, but they don't happen until the fall. So hopefully
Right.
we'll get in somewhere where she can represent the film locally in Los Angeles. But because we're on the East Coast, and most of the festivals that we've been selected for and screened so far have been on the East Coast, we're about to head to New York next week for a festival in Manhattan. It'll be the Manhattan premiere at the Chain Theater of the Chain Film Festival in New York City. And it's going to be what we've been hearing from the producers of the festival, that our block of films is called Women's Voices. So because it's a short, we're within a group of short films. And so we're in the Women's Voices block, and we've been hearing that it's getting close to sold out for the theater, which is great. So Mary Ellen will be there with me, and we'll be able to, experience it with the big screen. I've seen it on a big screen because I've gone to a few of the screenings in Boston and in Buffalo and in Brooklyn. And it's a different film than when you just watch it on your computer's monitor. So Mary Ellen's seen it on a computer monitor, but she hasn't seen it in an actual theater. And so I'm excited to share that with her in New York City next week.
Is that exciting, Mary Ellen?
I have to intercede here. He has won Best Director as far away as Italy and as close as Oregon. Best film, best this, best that. I haven't won anything, but he's won everything, and the film has too. And that's all I have to say, I think.
I like the way she leaves the door open. I think
right?
I might be back, but
the film is her. All these awards are for her. That's why.
No,
yes.
They're yours.
Now we're going to start a sitcom on your show, Jim.
Patrick, I think you're iconic.
No.
I know, this is fantastic. This is really, the three of us, we're just playing off each other so well. It's beautiful, and that's why I call these conversations, not interviews, because I think when you have a conversation like Carson did, like Cavett did, it's a different feeling, and the audience is drawn in. They feel like they're a part of it, which I think is fantastic. Where can people see this if they want to see it and they're like, oh my God, I gotta make sure I see this? Going to the website, they can learn more too. Of course, Just a Broadway Baby, MEA, which of course is for MaryEllenAshley.com. But are there other places they can go, or Patrick?
So right now it's making the sort of festival circuit tour.
Making the rounds.
So, and you don't want to get it into the mainstream yet, or there's certain festivals that say if it's been out there, like on a public platform, like a Vimeo or a YouTube, or it's been sold to someone, the rights have been sold, then they won't even consider it for the festival. So we're waiting for the end of this year, but it could be coming to a festival near you. Like we already know we're going to be in the Fort Lauderdale International Film Festival in November, which is a huge festival.
Yes.
36th year. They're considered, one of the top festivals in the country. And we're still waiting to hear from 30 more festivals. So it's possible that it can come, but we also have been asked, and we'll be sending at the end of the festival year, Lincoln Center, the Performing Arts Library there, Toft Television and Film Institute. They have invited us to have the film be part of their archives forever. So people can go and actually go to the library and ask to see the film and see it there eventually, if you're in the New York City area. But otherwise, we will eventually, if it's, the dream is obviously that some large producing entity would say, oh, we want this to go on. Showtime sometimes they pick up and put together small documentary films and put them in a package together that they'll show. If something like that were to happen, that would be great. Otherwise, eventually we will release it to one of those larger platforms like a YouTube or Vimeo, so that anybody anywhere can see it.
What about PBS? Have you approached them?
Yes, that's another place, of course. PBS would be a great place. And we've actually been approached by a brand new network. We're not sure that's the right fit for it, but I mean, PBS would be fantastic. I love PBS.
It
So
blends
that would
it.
be a dream.
Yeah, it's a great fit. This is really extraordinary. So you're enjoying yourself, Patrick, and you, Mary Ellen, how you're enjoying the ride, and you've put together this really beautiful short film. What are some things that are coming up next for each of you? Patrick, you first. What else is coming up for you?
So, I've been trying to submit some auditions, but it's all virtual now. Again, I'd love to be on stage again at some point, but in the immediate future, one of the reasons that Mary Ellen is here, besides some R&R, which she rightly deserves, we are working on a cabaret act for the two of us that's a follow-up to the documentary film. And so it'll touch on certain points of the film, because certainly there'll be plenty of people at the cabaret that if they come that haven't seen the film. But for the most part, it'll touch on stories that Mary Ellen wasn't able to articulate in the documentary, or that we cut out because there just wasn't time to make the final cut. And then we're going to weave songs in it, songs from the shows she's done for her career, some duets. I'll give you a little exclusive for the show, and that is that one of the songs we're planning to do, while Mary Ellen was in Annie Get Your Gun, the original production for the entire run, and she's done another production too at Paper Mill, but she's never played Annie Oakley. But she's going to sing, we're going to do the duet, Anything You Can Do, I Can Do Better, in the cabaret. So that's an exclusive. Nobody knows that, but we're planning to do that. And then she, of course, the cabaret will do a lot of solo numbers for her of shows she's done, and then a few duets with me, so that I get a chance to sing with my buddy and pal.
Wow, that's quite exciting, isn't it, Mary Ellen?
Oh, I again,
Yeah.
it's just, you don't know what to say, because it's open for anything. And everything good, everything positive in your life, working with a dear friend, pal, brother, son. I mean, all those, that combination of a human being Patrick is to me. And to be able to do that, be able to do the songs again that I did then, and new ones, and whatever is put into it. He's working on it now, and I hope I have some input. I think I have, and he's going to use that too. It's just spectacular. That's it.
Why do you love doing what you do so well, so much?
I don't know what else I would do. I probably would have become a vet, taking care of all these lost animals or losing animals. That's what I think sometimes when you get just blown off for a job or something.
Blown off.
Yeah.
You mean passed on? No, I mean,
Yeah.
Jim, blown off.
Blown off. Because that's what you feel like,
Yeah, you do feel it.
So I think there are so many things. And for a while I was going to be a psychiatrist and get my medical degree. I had images of all sorts of things that I could and wanted to do. I won't say, that this is it, but it became this is it, because I'd get an offer for something, and while I was in college, and I had another show, a television show called The Tootsie Hippodrome. I played Judy Ann, the Tootsie Roll sweetheart.
Right.
And I was just a freshman in college when that started. So immediately when you entertain ideas of all the things that you love and respect and could do, you go back to what was your homeland. And this is my homeland, like New York is.
Right.
The roots are deep.
Roots.
And fruitful and positive. And what else can you go for?
The next time I bite into a Tootsie Roll, I'm going to think of you, Mary Ellen.
I hope not physically. I'm always worried, do I look fat? Like a Tootsie Roll.
How about you, Patrick? What are some of the things, the blessings for you and your career? Why do you love doing what you do so much?
I think that other than being a ham when I was little, the other thing that inspired me to want to be involved in the arts was my older brother. He was born with Down syndrome, and he died when he was only 13, and I was 11. We were 2 years apart. But one of the ways that we communicated, and one of the ways where there was so much laughter, was through theater and games and singing songs, and that stuck with me. As a matter of fact, I was able to resuscitate a program that was sort of being given up on when I was in college in the Buffalo area, that brought theater and theater games and mime and things like that to students who were emotionally, physically, mentally challenged. And the pathways that opened for these students was just inspiring to me. And there was always a part of me that wanted to do this. There were a lot of my teachers. I was very good at math and science in school, and a lot of my teachers wanted me to go the engineering route. For some reason, in the mid '80s, everybody was becoming an engineer of some sort. It seemed, at least from where I was going to school. And I really wanted to follow my dream. I had done, finally got into do big shows in high school, or bigger shows than I had done before. And that was where the bug really took hold. When they say the bug bit you,
Yes.
I liked it and I loved it and I had fun. But when I got into high school, my first mentor, who I'm still friends with today, and now she's a professional director and actress in New York City herself. But at the time, she was an English teacher who did theater at our school. And she really believed in me and my talent. And, I got to do shows like My Fair Lady, and Side by Side by Sondheim. You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. I played Snoopy for the first time. I've played Snoopy 5 times in my career, including the tribute production when Charles Schultz died. And so all those experiences in high school really took hold. And that's when I said to myself, I at least want to try. I at least want to try to have this be my career. And then in college, because of the other things that my mentor there talked about in terms of if there's other parts of the theater you love, I had the ability to, if acting wasn't happening for me at a moment, there were other areas where there were always needs, and I could just plug into those areas. And so I'm still in the world of the theater and getting what I love to do. So I'm blessed for all of those reasons.
That's amazing. That's really beautifully said from both of you, my friends. Somebody that's here who pops in towards the latter part of the conversation. I just wanted to say hello. Mr. George Burns is with us.
George.
There he is with his cigar and his dapper red pocket square there. He pops in towards the latter part to say hello, and he thinks you kiddos knocked it out of the park. He learned so much about each of you, and he's excited to see the film. And my aunt collected dolls, and when he turned one of those glorious ages, they came out with one of the collector's George Burns dolls. So it got passed down to me, and he pops in towards the latter part. He's usually down here in the corner with his martini and his cigar, just sort of observing, like being a production assistant. But he sends his love, and he said, you guys are looking good and sounding good, and congratulations on everything. From George Burns himself. Not too bad, huh?
Not too bad. Loved him.
You never had a chance to come across him, Mary Ellen, at all?
Actually, yes.
You did?
They were headlining at another theater in Las Vegas.
Wow.
And I met him because I was under the big star, the next headliner on the marquee at the Tropicana Hotel. And,
very cool.
We'd go to see all the other performers.
Yeah.
And, I met him and Rodney Dangerfield. Oh, just loads.
Phyllis Diller and
all of them. And I worked. Some of them were headlining where I was at the Trop. So
Dean Martin,
I met them all. Yeah, it was
Sammy
great.
Davis Jr.
Oh yes.
Peter Lawford and Don Rickles, Jerry Lewis. Yeah. All of them. I know. Cool
just
stuff.
Exciting. And I was opening act for a lot of them in the Borscht Belt.
That's right. Up towards the Catskills, right? Yep. Buddy Hackett and
oh yes.
Yeah, that whole group.
Jack Carter.
Alan King.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Legends. Iconic, possibly.
Indeed.
Old shoes, they all
Old
are.
shoes. Nothing
My
better.
shoe has
You know
my
what it
shoe
is?
has a hole in it.
Old shoe. When you think of an old shoe, what's great about it, that expression, is it's a comfortability. Slipping into an old shoe, it's a comfortability. It's an ease,
Yeah.
which is a nice way to look at it. You guys are fantastic, and this was amazing. I hope that the show met whatever expectations you had, and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I
Oh, yeah.
have with each of you.
It was great. Thank you so much, Jim.
You know,
Loved it. It was good to see you. And
you as well.
And I hope that we can see each other for an adult beverage one day.
Yes, I like that. An adult beverage. Exactly.
The
Yes.
three of us. And whoever else.
Now, do you have Irish in you, Mary Ellen? Are you?
I have so much of everything in me.
The reason why I ask that is because the way you said adult, which my father's side of the family from New York, and they're the Irish side, English Irish, they say adult versus adult. They say adult. And I know growing up, my father didn't come from Ireland, but his grandmother, and they all came from Ireland on his mother's side. His father's side, the Masters, they came from England. The Masters settled in Manhattan and had jewelry stores. The Irish contingent, my father's mother's side, they came from Ireland. They settled in Astoria.
Oh,
And
yes.
my mother is the youngest of 16 from the New England area, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and they're English, Swedish, and French. But the Irish side, my father, as a kid, and I think it's because, you know, he has always heard his grandmother and the relatives saying this word this way. But for the word film, he has always said film.
Hello.
I don't know if you ever heard that. A lot of Irish say film.
Yes,
They add
indeed.
that extra syllable, film. So I used to say to my dad when I was a kid, film, what's that? Yeah, we're getting some film for the camera, for the Kodak Instamatic. We're getting some film. You mean film? So he heard it, I guess, you know, in the house from his grandmother and others possibly. So it wasn't until I was on PBS interviewing Ronan Tynan from the Irish Tenors in the studio. And the studio we were in at the time was Connecticut Public Television in Hartford, CPTV. And he was visiting because they had a new Irish tenor special out. And I'm interviewing him. And all of a sudden, he's talking about paparazzi and all of that. And he says, and they use a lot of film. And I'm standing there looking at him while we're live on TV, like, where have I heard that before? And then I did my research, and I, you know, and certain parts of Ireland, they say film for film.
I grew up in an Irish neighborhood,
Sunnyside,
Italian
Queens,
neighborhood.
yes.
And
Irish
I have been called My Little Colleen by Nick Kenny, who was an Irish journalist, and, you know, of the program I was on. And I've often been thought of as Irish, more than anything else.
I could see, yeah.
But I'm Ukrainian, which I just found out. My father was born in Ukraine, what was then Russia, but it was Ukrainian in Kiev.
Amazing, huh?
And so now I'm so proud of that because I fight for the Ukrainians. I mean, I'm active in those kinds of wars that we have. Yeah. And if I was a big enough name, I would go over there.
You go over there and do
and
what you
lend
can.
my support to them financially, if I could,
whatever,
mentally, certainly, and physically. You know, I'm a fighter.
Yes, you are.
Look at this.
Look at that. Look at that.
Don't get her going, or she'll put the boxing gloves on, and we'll all
look at. See.
I mean, that's the real deal. What we say? Don't get her going. She'll put the boxing gloves on, and what, Patrick?
She'll put us all on the mat.
You got a problem? You just call MEA.
That's it. And you.
Yes. And this was really fantastic.
I think you solve a lot of problems people have. Beautiful.
It's funny you say that. You must be intuitive because people keep telling me I operate from like a higher consciousness. I'm an intuitive and I have a high level empath. And what I like about that is I finally have definitions for things I always felt since I was a kid. Always try to comfort and inspire and bring people together. I'm the guy that comes in, to a room when everybody's yelling and screaming and cursing and fighting and everything is burning. And I sort of use levity or I go in and I look for ways to calm it, ease it, bring everybody together. There's a pie in front of us, and the key is that we all get a slice of the pie. Not that you get to grab the pie and run away and nobody gets any. We all get a slice of that pie and we enjoy. The pie slice might not be as big as we would have liked, but we at least equally all got a slice of the pie. And that's how I tend to look at life and operate, myself. And that's probably why as a kid, I sat in the middle of the bus, the middle of the class. I was always in the middle so I could get along with all the different groups, everybody. And whether I agreed with all or not, I didn't, force anything on anybody. I just got along and continue to try to get along with everybody because I see different things and different viewpoints in listening. People don't listen anymore. They just talk. I like to listen and get different. Oh, so that's how you solve that. Or so you tried it that way, or you did that, or you use that ingredient in that recipe or whatever. I think I'm going to try that. That's how you learn and grow, is when you surround yourself with everybody, as opposed to just select groups that are matching what you see in the mirror. Because sometimes what you see in the mirror doesn't always look so hot. So expand your horizons. And we have certainly done that, Miss Mary Ellen and Mr. Patrick. This was fantastic. And this will be archived on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Folks will be able to watch it again and again and again in the future. Best of luck. It was so good seeing you again, my friend Mary Ellen, Ashley, and Patrick, welcoming you to the show as well for the first time. We'll keep the porch light on for you. You're welcome back anytime. And this was a true delight and pleasure. And congratulations on all the things that are happening for you both individually and collectively.
Thank you, Jim. It was so great.
It's been great. Truly.
I appreciate that.
Truly.
We'll see you guys again. Okay. You be well.
You too. Take care, Jim. Thanks
Spread
so much.
the word about our show. If you know other folks you think would like to pop on, let us know. Everybody's welcome.
When will it be archived? Immediately?
Yes, immediately archived. Absolutely. You made it into the Jim Master Show archives, Mary Ellen. Isn't that cool? Well, all the
nothing better.
All the amazing things you've done in your career. You made it into our archives. And how does it feel to be a Lovety? The viewers have already designated you guys Loveties. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. I have a nickname too. It's Tuffy.
I like that. Well, I always say there's Oscars, Emmys, Tellys, Peabodys, Tonys, Grammys. But when you are designated a Lovety on the Jim Master Show live, I mean, Mary Ellen, are your feet tingling right now?
My whole leg, ankle, thigh, everything is
tingling. How about you, Patrick? Anything?
Oh, yes, indeed.
It's got the
Most
tingles.
Yeah.
Mary Ellen's going into a
I know she's
character
doing
now.
Interpretive dance.
Yeah, I love it. See?
What'd you say?
Interpretive dance.
Oh, that's me.
You just throw her a line and she takes it and runs with it. I love it.
Always.
That's it. You guys are the best. Thanks for being with us on the Jim Master Show again. Really a blessing, and we really appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you again soon, okay?
Thanks again. All the best, Jim.
All right. You take care. Thank you, Patrick. And Mary Ellen, good seeing you again once again, my dear friend, and I hope to see you again real soon, okay?
Real soon.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Mary Ellen, Ashley, and Patrick Riviere joining us here, and really, really very special and cool. If you would like to learn more, again, about this film that they debuted and is highly revered and regarded, just go to Just a Broadway Baby, MEA.com. Look for it at festivals near you, hopefully, and elsewhere. So congratulations to them both. putting this together, celebrating Mary Ellen's life. This is really amazing. And again, that's a great shot on set. There it is right there. You can look at all those awards that they've garnered thus far, too. And some great shots behind the scenes. And of course, Mary Ellen and Patrick joining us. Really love it. And this is Patrick on the red carpet. Wasn't it great having them here? Absolutely. If you were very familiar with Mary Ellen Ashley's work, you got a chance to learn a little bit more about this legendary Broadway actress, singer, dancer, also radio and television too. I mean, she's really touched upon it all. And Patrick Riviere, award-winning actor, playwright, and producer. Really a pleasure to have them here on the show. And as I mentioned earlier, if you missed it, we've had an opportunity to have some wonderful times with Mary Ellen over the years in New York City, special occasions, dinners, shows, lots of fun with our mutual friends. And hope to be doing that and painting the town red once again. Thanks for joining us on the Jim Masters Show live entertainment, lifestyle, variety talk show series, gang. We love having you here. Don't forget to give this episode a thumbs up like. That's right. There's a little thumbs up button there that's on the YouTube channel next to all the episodes. Click like and leave a comment on our channel as well for this episode and all the episodes, some 750 plus, I think, hundreds of episodes that you can enjoy and you can binge watch right here on our channel. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to our YouTube channel where all these episodes are, that channel is Jim Masters TV. Subscribe to it. Doesn't cost anything. Click that red subscribe button and make sure you click the notification bell so you never miss any of our episodes that we create for all of you, bringing everybody together here on the Jim Masters Show live series. Around here, we don't say goodbye. We say see you later, cheers, ciao, hasta la vista. We say shalom, sayonara, moi loop, and slancha, and all the rest. Take care of one another, be good to one another, and of course, as always, be good to yourself. Always take time to be good to yourself. Love one another and love yourself. Really important to do all of that. So for all of us here, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, spread the word about our show. Share these links on your social media. Spread the word about the Jim Masters Show live. And we'll see you on the next one, okay? Lots of great shows coming up just for you and you and you and you right here on the Jim Masters Show live. We'll see you again soon. Be well. Cheers.